Hello, this is Anna Amelia from North East Animal Rights. Thank you for joining us today. We have a lot of things going on today, and we also have our outreaches planned. We're hoping that we are able to get out to do some physical outreaches very shortly in the next few weeks, which will be in Newcastle. So please come along and join us and say hello to us. But we will be continuing to do these as well because we know how useful they are, and we know obviously the social media reach is quite good. So today we're talking about vegan for the planet. So first and foremost, I wanted to show you, this is our logo here. Okay, so you can see, you can see the dove here, the protective dove, the sign of peace as well. And also you have the dove with the vegan sign in the little twig in its mouth. And the bottom part of it says, for the animals, for the planet, for us. That's what we're about, okay? So we know that animals come first for us, they always do. But if we look after the animals, we also know that the planet benefits absolutely massively, and so do we. As inhabitants, these co-inhabitants of the planet, we all benefit as well. If you're an environmentalist, if you are somebody who has a keen interest in the environment, you need to be looking at going vegan, because animal agriculture is one of the biggest sources of damage to the planet. Greta Thunberg, obviously everybody knows this fabulous young woman activist. She, when she first started doing the climate strike, the school climate strikes, she wasn't vegan. But she very quickly went vegan because she realised that you can't separate the two. Extinction Rebellion, everybody's heard of those. They caused massive disruption in the capital a few years ago. And they also have an animal rebellion. They have a branch called Animal Rebellion, which is the vegan branch of it, because again, you can't separate the environment from animals. David Attenborough, who knows whether he's vegan or not? Nobody ever really knows, because he seems to be the most obvious person to be vegan, but he hasn't really actually said he's vegan or not. But anyway, we've all watched this programme, absolutely horrified. People have sat there and watched and just vowed for their children's sake that they're not going to contribute to any more damage, and they would make a change. But then they went straight and put some dairy milk into the cup of coffee, because one cup of coffee or one cup of tea won't make a difference. Climate change is happening, we know that, okay? Animal agriculture, depending on which study you look, is the first, the second or the third most damaging source of pollution to the environment. Either way, it's high up there. It is really, really high up in damage to the environment. 65 billion land animals, 65 billion land animals, and 3 trillion sea animals. I don't even know how many zeros a trillion has, but it's a massive, massive amount. It can't not have an impact on our environment. It can't not have an impact on our oceans and on our land. We've all seen those pictures of the sad polar bear on the shrinking ice caps. We all know it's happening. Captain Paul Watson, who is the chief executive and the founder of Sea Shepherd, said by 2048 that the oceans will be nigh on empty. That's a direct quote for him. Now he's an expert in everything to do with the oceans and the inhabitants of the seas. And he's saying, in my lifetime, in 20 years' time, 27 years' time, the oceans will be empty. That's a horrendous statistic. It really, really is. Viva has said that it's all very well people looking at things like changing to energy efficient bulbs, changing to electric cars, but if you're not looking at the main source of impact on the environment, which is animal agriculture, you're wasting your time. You really are. When I was a teenager, sort of 18, 19, 20-ish, there was a big outcry on chlorofluorocarbon, CFCs, because everybody had the big hair. I had the big like Olivia Newton-John style and Grease hairstyle, absolutely caked in hairspray, and everybody was walking around with almost like a mini ozone hole in the atmosphere above their heads, because everybody was just using it so much. There was a big outcry, and chlorofluorocarbons were taken out of hairsprays and things like that. But animal agriculture, this causes even more damage to the environment. So why are we not doing anything about this? Why is it people like us sort of like sitting here talking to people saying, we need to we need to be looking at animal agriculture? Now, the 3 main causes of greenhouse emissions or global warming, or the 3 gases causing this, is carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane. Methane comes from the vast number of cows we are farming for their food, for their bodies, okay, and also from their manure. So that's methane on its own. Carbon dioxide should be getting used up by the trees. The trees are very, very good at taking and using carbon dioxide. But because we are carrying out deforestation on a massive scale, in places like the rainforests in Brazil, in Brazil and everywhere, we're not allowing the earth to heal. The carbon dioxide is going directly into the atmosphere. People massively underestimate the benefits of trees and their ability to heal the planet and to help us. We have a fantastic group locally called South Tyneside Tree Action Group, and they do exactly that. They are the tree protectors for our borough. And you know, a lot of, you know, they do come up against a lot of barriers, but they're really working hard to try and make sure that people understand how important trees are to our survival. Nitrous oxide, the third one, this is the main source of this is animal agriculture. It's in fertiliser, and it's also in the manure of large-scale farms like pig farms. Okay, so 3 main gases, and they're the ones that all are coming from deforestation, directly linked to animal farming or directly from the animal agriculture itself. Now, how important are greenhouse emissions and global warming to most farmers? In a 2019 Farm Practices survey, only 13% of farmers thought that the impact they cause on the environment was very important. You know, that's 87% thought that was less than important, but they are the main contributors and they're not doing anything about it. The beef industry is the biggest polluter of cause to damage to the environment, but also damage to the biodiversity because of the deforestation. It causes the output of all of these 3 gases, which are producing global warming. It's also the most inefficient of foods that meat eaters eat. So we are feeding food to cows. We're growing food to feed cows, which could actually be fed to humans immediately. So, you know, soya and grain, it makes no logical sense whatsoever. Now, all of the animal pollutants, so if you say 100% is all the animal pollutants, 65% of that is down to beef farming. Okay, so beef farming has a horrendous effect on the planet. Now, oceans, you know, we have had a big outcry over the last couple of years about plastic ending up in our waterways and killing our fish, and creatures like whales and bird life, you know, single-use plastics, ban on plastic straws. People were talking about, you know, they've obviously had this introduction of paying for plastic bags now to try and reduce plastic bag usage. But, you know, the reality is just stop eating the fish. Stop eating the fish in the first place. Stop creating the demand for decimating our oceans by catching fish to eat with massive nets, which are also causing we are also catching animals like dolphins. You know, we have these huge nets, which I mean, they're massive. They're the size of you know, like football fields, and they are. It's called bottom trawl, and they are actually scraping the bottom of the oceans. So they are going backwards and forwards, literally scraping up every single thing, and that's exactly the same as the deforestation on land. It has the same effect because it massively damages the biodiversity in the oceans. So how can we sit here and tell our children and our grandchildren that we care about the environment and the planet that they are going to inherit from us if we go back and sit and stuff our face with chicken nuggets and with with fish and chips? We can't. So there's a really good calculator on BBC. If you just Google, if you go on the BBC website and Google the climate change food calculator, it links directly the food you're eating to how much impact you cause on the environment. I've got really good examples here now. I'm going to read them out because they're quite wordy, but they are very, very useful in terms of working. You know, when people are saying, you know, you are eating avocados and this has a massive effect. You know, you're eating this and this has a massive effect. Well, of course, everything we take, every resource we take, is going to have some impact on the environment. But it's about minimalising it. Okay. So, for example, if you're having 2 beef burgers a week, so you have one on a Monday, you want to have one on a Thursday, Friday, that's equivalent to travelling 1,542 miles in a car, right? 1,542 miles in a car, or one return flight from London to Malaga, heating the average UK home for 95 days. You know, that's pretty much what, you know, getting on for more than a quarter of the year. It needs a land equivalent to 6 tennis fields, okay? So that is tennis courts. I knew there was a different word, not fields. Tennis courts. So that's just for 2 hamburgers twice a week, 2 beef burgers twice a week. If we're eating beans, as a vegan, we eat obviously a lot of beans and pulses and that sort of thing. You know, if I'm eating them 3 to 5 times a week, that's equivalent to 53 miles in a car, as opposed to 1,542 miles in a car. You can see the difference immediately. Now, a couple of the other things on the calculator takes into account the water usage as well. So avocado, avocado is sort of, obviously there's a lot of politics around the avocado production, but even in terms of the impact on the environment, there's 39 miles in a car. It's equivalent to driving 39 miles in a car. Again, beef burgers, 1,542, okay? 54 8-minute showers. That's how much water it takes to produce an avocado. 54 8-minute showers. I'm talking too fast and get me tongue tangled. Now, if you look at the dairy industry, oat milks and dairy milk, okay, so dairy milk, you're using up 585 miles in a car, okay. Oat milk takes up 168. So again, you can see the massive savings and the reduction and the impact on the environment. There's always going to be an impact, but it's about minimalising the impact, okay. Now, I would also say that if you're in the shower for 8 minutes is a long time to be in a shower, so cut it down by a minute, cut it down by a couple of minutes, and also cut down the temperature you're using as well, because that all has an impact, If there's a couple of interesting facts here. So you have the countries with the smallest carbon footprint, and this is something that comes up as an answer on Pointless, the smallest country in the world, that sort of thing. But this country, Tuvalu, has the smallest impact on the environment. Obviously, it's very isolated, it's self-sufficient. It's getting very blowy here. I can feel things flapping around here. But it has a big reliance on crops as well. So they kind of like almost cut off from the outside world, so they don't have all the massive impact with the travel and transport. The largest ones, obviously, you would expect, are places like China, US, Russia, because of the reliance on fossil fuels, but also Japan, surprisingly. That was surprised to me. Now, I'm going to just give you some facts here, because these are really, really good facts to kind of like read to people to talk about. So, 100,000 years ago, this is according to time.com, 100,000 years ago, inhabitants of the earth, okay, if you take a global sum of 100% of inhabitants of the earth, 99% of them were wild animals and only 1% were humans. Now, obviously, that's going to change over time. I mean, obviously, the human race has kind of like expanded absolutely massively, exploded. But now in 2021, we're down to 1% of wild animals. 67% of animals are farmed animals now, and 32% are humans. So 100,000 years ago, we had 99% of wild animals. Now we have 1%, and within that 99%, we now have 67% of animals farmed for their bodies. And in terms of land used by animals, so you have 100% as a starting figure. 6% of land used by animals is by wild animals, and 94% is by farmed animals. I mean, that's a horrendous figure. So basically, we have a very small amount of wild animals actually using land for what it's intended for, and the rest are using land to be killed for the bodies for people to eat. So going back to my reason for doing this, for using this as a topic today about vegan for the planet, you simply cannot say that you care about the environment if you continue to eat animals, because they are massively, they're massive part of the destruction. It's a bit like saying you're an animal lover, you have a dog, but you're going out for a walk with it wearing a Canada Goose jacket, or you're going out for some fish and chips, but you have a dog or a cat at home. It makes no sense whatsoever. So if you're serious about wanting to change this planet, make this planet a better place for you, for your children, for your grandchildren, there's one thing which is in your control, and it's so easy, it's so accessible, and that is by going vegan. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. I hope that was useful today, and I will catch up with you very soon. So this is Anna Amelia from Northeast Animal Rights saying thank you and goodbye for now.